Not only from my parents, I had some great coaches, I had some great teachers. If I had to really pinpoint it, it's mom. Mom is who made me who I am. Everything that she instilled for me, for that work ethic, and then being in the fitness industry and having a knack for really wanting to love and help people get to their goals, man, it's super inspiring. If you're open to listen to people's ideas, because there's a lot of people that are going to bring a lot of different ideas to the table. Don't be closed-minded. When I look at the time that I spend and the people that I've been so blessed to coach and mentor, I've always been open and honest with them. I've always had great communication with them. I think those things are important. When it comes to setting intentions, I think always keeping in mind where I want to go. What's that destination? What's that end result? When I've coached people to step into roles, I've really told them, hey, when you walk out of, in this case, a club, a gym, you should have impacted not only the number to help them be more successful and get paid more, but you helped impact the skill set.
There's one thing that all champions have in common. They get shit done. So welcome to the Get Shit Done experience. Well, we are back at it again. It's time to get shit done, folks. You are in studio with us. This is the Get Shit Done experience, also known as the GSDX podcast. And yes, I am rocking my new favorite hat. Shout out to the guys at Cap America. I'm talking about Mark Gammon specifically. Absolutely amazing. Beautiful hat here. Look at this thing. We got the cord going there? Yeah. What is that? The nice embroidery. Feeling pretty fresh here. It's all about the branded apparel, you know, when you're doing a little bit of branding. So I'm pretty fired up. This is a great year. First recording of 2025. We are destined for greatness in 2025. Thanks for playing along. By the way, don't forget to like and follow, whether it be on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you take in podcasts. We would love it if you'd give us a little 5-star, maybe write a review about how awesome the hat is and the content's cool and you're really learning stuff about how to get shit done, you know, that kind of vibe. The voice that you're hearing is the one and only Ron Moore. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me back. I'm excited.
Yes.
Am I the first person to go twice?
You are the third person.
But
okay. We'll edit it so that you're the first person.
I like it. Hey, first, second, third, doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm the first person of 2025, though.
That you are the first recording of 2025, which I believe is going to be the best year that you and I ever have in our life.
Man, I couldn't agree with you more. 2024 was a great year, but I think it just was the building blocks for this year. Building blocks for 2025.
Absolutely. Let's do a little bio here so folks know who this amazing Ron Moore is. I know him personally. We've walked up and down the sidelines and cheered on our kids and have broke bread together and are very supportive of each other. Some people just vibe like that. But let me tell you who Ron is. Ron is the Regional Vice President of Personal Training and District Vice President of Fitness for LA Fitness. And by the way, an illustrious career for an organization called Xsport, which has been purchased by LA Fitness. So, yes. Oh my gosh, LA Huge. Fitness is on the move, baby.
They are. And one of the things that they're known for is acquiring other brands. Xsport had a great run. Was in business for well over 25 years. I spent 18 years there.
Crazy.
Yeah, so it was crazy. But such, great opportunities that have now been provided for me with LA Fitness. I really respect the brand. I really like the direction of the company. I like how open they are to really want to grow the brand, even as big as they are.
Yeah.
750 locations between the United States and Canada. And I think we're just going to continue to grow. And
it's just massive.
Yeah, man. And they're branding out and they're doing some other different types of locations too. And but man, it's a really cool thing to be a part of. It was, not gonna lie, it was a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I'm sure. First. What is that like to go through an acquisition like that?
Yeah, I mean, because you hear all the horror stories, right? And whether it was in this industry or other ones, typically when you're at a higher level position, you get acquired by bigger brands. Sometimes they make some cuts, but it really just showed what their culture is and what their morals and ethics are. They had an opportunity to come around and sat with all the higher level people at Xsport, and they gave us a fair shake. And from there, I luckily, because of my upbringing and different things like that, it really I had great opportunities, and they saw me as being a big contributor to what their vision is. And so it's honestly been a great marriage and a great relationship.
The word had to be out, Ron, because a lot of times in an acquisition like that, it's like, a lot of folks get replaced, and there's a lot they want to bring in their own team. So the fact that it sounds like LA Fitness has handled this with a lot of class and style,
very much so,
and has been very patient in trying to get to know everybody and be like, hey, are you in or are you out? Like, if you're in, let's go, right?
Yeah,
and if it's kind of like, I would imagine you were a football player, you know, a new coach comes in and they've got a different scheme and a different plan. It's like, can you fit this scheme and can you be all in with it? Or are you going to go into free agency, or are we going to trade you? Right? So
agree. I look at, man, how you correlate, and that's me and you being the same, right?
Yeah.
You correlate business to sports, but that's a great thing. Everything in life is about evolution, right? I mean, we're going to get thrown things at us every day that we're not expecting. It's how are you able to inbound it, not be emotional, not react, and say, okay, how can I evolve? How can I change? How can I grow? And, you know, definitely I see some different, you know, different drivers for LA Fitness, but the reality of it is just I think they're a company that wants to continue to grow. Their mission statement and my personal mission statement professionally is to help other people. Mm-hmm. And I really like where we align there. And so it gave me great opportunities. And like I said, I mean, it was nerve-wracking at first, but I've been given every opportunity, as a lot of my peers have, to go perform. And really, you know, when I met with the club level people at LA, I said, guys, this is like, remember the Titans. Yeah. We put together two powerhouses and brought it together to make something special. And that's really been our mantra of this blend of the two brands. And it's been great so far.
Yeah.
But we're just getting started.
There's always savings, but it's about way more than savings alone. Total Technology Solutions Group redefines managed print services. Excellence is the minimum standard. TTSG is a true managed print service provider, deeply understanding your technology and business goals. Your business is unique. Our solutions are tailored to your current and future business goals. Our customer-first approach empowers and delights. TTSG can ensure your technology environment will scale as your business does. So as you navigate business and constant change, partner with TTSG for premium advisement and seamless implementation of your technology goals. We set the bar high. Your people deserve it. Peace of mind, powerful innovation, TTSG.com. Better together, right?
Yep, that's right.
So we're going to get into more of that as we progress. We want to do a little bit of an origin story, but I just want to make note of this so that I don't forget. Those of you that are driving around still seeing Xsport buildings up, if you don't know, it is a long process for an organization that big to acquire another organization that big and change all the branding and all the signage and all that stuff. Like, it's hard enough to get through the financial acquisition, onboarding.
Yeah.
Like, here's our policies and procedures. Here's the core values. Here's the principles. Here's how we do stuff, right? That's hard as hell.
It's a lot.
But then you got to factor in, like, we got to change out all the logos, all the branding, all the communications, all the marketing collateral. I mean, like, everything has got to get changed out. So you're going to see some immediately changed, but you're going to see a gradual implementation of some of the buildings, the brick and mortar and the signage and all those things.
Agree. Yeah, I think, focal point for us is to all those things that you just said, make sure we get the staff aboard, make sure we're communicating to the member base. But yeah, I mean, we've updated on all the websites on Google. You'll be able to find us there. But yeah, I think if some people where it could get confusing is you're driving past and it says Xsport on the sign, but it's really LA. But yeah, just so everybody is clear, we are all LA Fitness. We're moving, and again, to your point, we'll slowly start moving the brand recognition and the external signage outside the clubs. We'll really see over the course of 2025 that will get done. And some great investments into those facilities too, which, that member base I love. They're very dear to my heart. They're still our member base, but they deserved it, right? They deserve some investments into these facilities. And so I'm excited. I've really seen the vision, like I said, from what they want to do, not only with those clubs and those assets, but from the personal training department. And I was blown away, and I'm like, God, I want to be part of this.
That's the other thing is just the calm, cool, collected process of going in and analyzing the equipment. Like what needs to be updated so that you're creating the best customer experience. I think it's fantastic. So we'll get into that a little bit more, but I want to start back, kind of origin story.
Yeah.
Like you've been an athlete and you got all these things going on. There's always a foundation for that. There's roots. So tell us about the upbringing.
Man, the roots, I have so much gratitude for how my upbringing was, right? nothing was really given, but man, my mom and my dad instilled so much in me in regards to work ethic. But I was just very fortunate. I was very fortunate, played sports all my life. Not only from my parents, I had some great coaches, I had some great teachers, but if I had to really pinpoint it, it's mom. Mom is really who made me who I am. Been in the fitness industry for over 40 years, owns her own private studio gym. She's ready to retire. That's probably coming up here in the next maybe 3 to 6 months. So we're excited about that, so she can get more time with the grandkids, because I have a lot of those, 4 to be exact. Right?
Yeah.
So, but everything that she instilled for me, for that work ethic, and then being in the fitness industry and having a knack for really wanting to love and help people get to their goals, it's super inspiring. And when I went to school, I always wanted to be a coach. Upbringing through sports, my coaches would always say, you're the coach on the field, basketball, point guard, right? Running back in football, but you lead everybody out on the field. And so, my ultimate goal was I wanted to get into coaching, right? All athletes want to be coaches. And as I went through and progressed through school, I found that, man, I am coaching. I'm coaching, whether it be a client through personal training when I was in those roles and those positions, or coaching people how to be able to get people involved and how to grow your business and things like that. But man, I love being a coach. I love working with people. And so I think when I look at that upbringing, man, I got to go back to mom. I mean, what she instilled in me and really led me down this pathway of what's turned into a great career, and it's been able to provide so much for me and my family. I'm just super blessed.
So it's kind of like the idea of you don't need a title to lead. It's like you don't need permission to coach.
Yeah.
Right. And coaching comes in all styles and methods. What's your method?
Honesty. Right. I think that communication is really the key. And I think when I look at my coaching style, I always want to be honest with people, but I'm very hands-on. I think that, like you said, a lot of people have different coaching styles, and I can't say one's better than the next. But when I look at, the time that I spend and the people that I've been so blessed to coach and mentor, I've always been open and honest with them. I've always had great communication with them. I think those things are important. When people are doing great, you got to celebrate it. When people aren't, you got to be able to identify it. You got to be open and honest with them, but you got to come in with a solution. And I think as great leaders, you're able to identify problems and work with your staff to work through that solution. I found myself in the latter years probably not giving the solution and actually talking with and working it through.
Helping them arrive at it.
Yeah, because, ultimately, I think then as you progress as a leader, the ultimate goal that you could really try to do is to create more future leaders.
Yeah.
Everything in life is about paying it forward. And so that's the biggest thing for me. If I really was to pinpoint, hey, what's allowed you to progress and be a great leader, it's just how communication. And I've, like I said, I've been very blessed, and I've created a lot of future leaders, and I still have so many friends, that have moved on into other industries, and they're like, man, we learned so much of how to treat people, how to talk to people, how to analyze the business, that type of thing. So be hands-on, communicate, and also show that you care about other things outside of just that scope of work. I think that's such an important thing. Extracting the why, right? I mean, you and I,
we've talked about
that. We know
that.
what our goals and our beliefs are and where we really want to be. And I think that when you show as a leader that you care about the direction that people want to go and why they're showing up to work, because, hey, if you love what you do, you're going to want to show up to work. But don't kid yourself. There's reasons why they're coming there. There's things they want to accomplish in their life.
You could love what you do, show up and check a box.
Exactly.
So we're talking about getting shit done, right? So
damn right.
Done. So there ain't no checking boxes in that. So
exactly.
So what's interesting though is honesty also has a danger to it. Because you got to know how to frame it right, and you got to be intentional. You got to come from the right place, because man, there's some times I want to be honest, but I might break somebody if I'm honest. And there's also, I want people to be honest with me, and I'm like, take it easy, take it easy on me, right? So there's a way of framing it. Like, how do you go about doing that so that it's authentic, it hits the mark, but it also creates that spark, because you're being honest so that you create a spark.
It does. I think, like I said, I think that starts with the relationships that were being built. So there's a trust factor there. And then I think, and I've really learned this sometimes the harder way of, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So I've had to learn to, articulate, and people inbound, information different ways. So it's really important to always make sure, even if you're given constructive criticism, to do it in a positive way. And I think more importantly, don't be the person that points out the problem. Come with some form of solution, or, hey, we're going to work through this, right? Where do you feel you're struggling? How can we get better? Do you have your intentions right? I mean, I'm such a big person, in the last, 5 to 10 years spiritually with my wife and things like that, of where I think intentions, how do you set your intentions for the day? How do you set your intentions when you arrive to work? I think a lot of times people are distracted with all the things that they've got going on in their personal life. So to take that time and say, hey, maybe it's not even in this environment. Maybe you got other things that are barriers in your brain that are holding you back.
That you're bringing with.
Exactly. And so, man, when you work through those things and then you feel that you've impacted not somebody professionally, but personally, there's so many people that are coming to my mind right now where they're like, man, Ron, we didn't even talk about work. We talked about personal stuff, but those were my barriers that we got out of the way. So yeah, I agree. We've got to find a way to be honest. I try not to sugarcoat things. I've learned how to articulate things the right way. I think that's important. And then go out of a plan with, this isn't what you're going to do. It's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And man,
I like that.
When you do that, man, it just goes.
Both have skin in the game.
Yeah, it goes a long way. I'm a big believer that you don't lead by a push, you lead by a pull. And I think when you do that, man, it's like I said, I can only say I learned those leadership skills from the best coaches that I had, the best teachers, my parents. But when you do those things, you look behind you and you go, man.
Well, eventually you pull that rope and they slingshot past you.
That's true.
And then they're pulling you.
Which I'm good with.
And it's like the thing is just tumbling around, man. Yep. It's like, now I'm pulling you, you're pulling me, you go back and forth.
I love it. I always tell my people, hey, I want you to hold me accountable. Every year, my direct reports, my senior team, I send them out and I say, hey, I want you to review me. And I want you to be fully transparent. What do you want me to do better as a leader? How do you want me to communicate? Where do you feel your biggest challenges are? What did you like what you and I did last year? And if the roles were reversed, what would you want to see more out of me, right? And so I think those things are important, right? I think sometimes, as people get into leadership roles, they get set on, hey, we're going to do this. I think you got to stick to your fabric, especially because you've got into that position for a reason. But you got to be open, man. If you're open to listen to people's ideas, because there's a lot of people that are going to bring a lot of different ideas to the table. Don't be closed-minded. When you can be open like that, man, you will create those future leaders.
Yeah, you want to set the vision, set the tone, and have the boundaries set. But you want to create an environment of freedom within that.
Absolutely.
So that everyone feels like they're participating in it. But you want that very clear vision.
Yep.
You want to set the desired outcome.
Yep.
And then from there, it's like, okay, cool. How do we get there, folks?
I tell people, hey, love your talent. Want to try to work it inside our system. If you can work your talent, just like some of your greatest professional teams, they bring in talented people, but sometimes if some people think that they're more talented than the system, it's not going to work.
The prima donna.
Yeah, it's that those things aren't going to work, whether it's sports, business, whatever, right? But when we understand the hierarchy and there's a mutual level of respect, but we don't go into it of, hey, I'm this and you're that. We go into it of, how are we going to work through? We both have a common goal. And that also helps me to be able to eliminate when there are problems or issues, right? To employees, different things going on. Hey, remember, we all have a common goal here, right? So how to find that way to be able to have everybody feel they're contributing. And really, I feel like with the generation and the upbringing now, I don't know if their motivators and drivers are as much financially and economics. They are in some cases, but I think they also want to be part of something. They want to feel that they're contributing.
A bigger purpose.
Yeah.
This is the most purpose-driven generation that I think we've had. And when I say purpose, obviously I'm not diminishing the fact that the industrial age had the purpose of, building amazing, manufacturing amazing equipment and products. And I'm not taking away from that. I'm saying more of a spiritual purpose. That really wanting to help people on a deeper level seems to be something that is running very consistent and parallel with this generation.
Couldn't agree with you more. Yeah, definitely the camaraderie. The best advice I could give to leaders in any industry is make sure you put time and economics and different things aside for team building. Man, that's such an important thing, right? And I can always tell when I walk into a gym or I walk into a business what's the camaraderie amongst the team and how are they working off each other? Where's that synergy, right? Do I feel the energy when I walk in? And those things I think are extremely important. And when you see people, siloed and isolated out to the side, it's not good, right?
So how do you do that, Ron? And how often? Give us like an example of like a really cool way. Having a pizza party and a foosball table and all that stuff. I don't know. That's not culture to me. No. Culture is like everyone kind of buying into a similar set of core values and cheering each other on to achieve that, and scoreboards that are up and people like, yeah, man, you're on top. I'm going to kick your ass and pass you though. To me, that's culture, not like, hey, I beat you in foosball, want a bite of my grilled cheese sandwich. Like that's not,
absolutely,
that's not culture. So like how often?
Yes.
Right. And like, what's a really cool one that you've done?
Yeah, so I mean, I think I run into those scenarios as far as often, man, every day. Every day when you walk in, because, at least for as far as this state, 50, almost 60 clubs, right? Mm-hmm. So, even at one a day, I'm only hitting a club, every couple of months. So I get those opportunities.
And you're all of Illinois. So, I mean, you're hitting club.
Oh, man.
So you're walking in like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
And it's like a new party.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
trying to bring the energy.
Which is great. Now outside of that, I think the things, I loved how you said like the hoorah moments. Like I love bringing people together in a group setting, and we'll do cool games. Like when we were kids, man, when we'll talk about the business, we'll talk about all the decimals and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But let's do something fun first. So typically when I start meetings, I do fun activities. I like to bring people in to work out before. We've played basketball games. We did a dodgeball tournament, which was great, right?
Cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think those types of things, bringing laughter and joy to people allows them to then refocus, and everybody wants to work hard. So, what I found is in doing some of those activities, then when we did get into the decimals and where do we got to get better and that type of stuff, there was just a greater buy-in, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I love to do cool things like that. I think it's important to take out and just spend time with people. I'd like to, in this next evolution of where we're going, take the senior team out, meet their family, that type of thing, because I think that's also an important factor in business that, man, we're showing up every day. You spent years at organizations, right? And that becomes your second family. Mm-hmm. But I want to meet everybody else, right? I want everybody to meet my wife, meet my kids, because they can understand those are my whys, right? And those are why I drive to work every day and perform the way that I do, because it's for you guys, but this is for me. What's your why? What are you doing outside? So I got some cool things coming up, and where we're gonna bring everybody out. We're gonna do some dinner. I don't know about the foosball, like we said, right? But just taking out and spending time with people. I think those things are important.
You had talked about setting intentions. Yes. There's a lot of ways to do that. What's your way? What's been the thing that has worked for you the most?
When it comes to setting intentions, I think always keeping in mind where I want to go. What's that destination? What's that end result? And what do I want to get out of when I go into...
And you're doing this daily.
Yeah.
Every morning.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, here, as a business operator, the first thing I'm going to do is, okay, wherever I'm going today, what's the strengths? What's the weaknesses? Where can I go in and impact? And anytime I talk to high-level people or even done any consulting, and you're going to go in as a multi-club operator or as a multi-unit operator, the best thing that you can go do is bring energy right when you walk in. Bring a level of energy. And then when you walk out, did the people not only understand why you're in the position that you're in, but you showed them a skill set, right?
Yeah.
So, when I've coached people to step into roles, I've really told them, hey, when you walk out of, in this case, a club, a gym, right, that you should have impacted not only the number to help them be more successful and get paid more, but you helped impact a skill set, right? Did they get a little bit better at something, right? So for me, my intentions every day are to just try to make somebody's skill set a little bit better. Like I said, I can't say it enough. I've been gifted through what, my upbringing, and it really kind of led me down a pathway that, like, I don't know if there was anything else for me to really do, but to be in the gym industry, right? And I love it. And I got so many other things that I dabble in, but this is where my heart is, right? And so... But if I told you every day, my intentions is just to say, hey, at the end of the day, did I make somebody better? And from a leadership aspect, if you're doing that, man, just one person, right?
Yeah.
One person is a little bit better. It's a great feeling, man.
What about your personal intentions? Because I always have goals for how I, would like to achieve on that day, things that I want to get done, people that I'd like to impact.
Yeah.
But, the saying goes, you can't save the passenger next to you if you don't put the mask on first.
Very much true.
Right? So how are you intentional in your own mind, in your own heart, in your own spirit, so that you can carry the torch and bleed that into other people?
Absolutely. I think it's the balance, right? And for me, every day where I challenge myself is, what do you got to get better at, right? And so my personal intentions and how it would affect my personal life and my family is more about what I can do to get better. So my intentions when I wake up is, how am I going to get a little bit better? And for example, like one of the things, and if she was here right now, she would tell you, Ron, it's all in how you compartmentalize your life and how you time management and things like that, which we all have challenges, and so those are the things that where I set my intentions is to identify, and especially this is the time of year, everybody, whether they like it or not, is really setting their intentions.
Oh yeah.
Right. All right. 2025. What do I got to get
Which
better?
Which is why I asked, because I used to do that. And now I do it every morning. It's like, holy, what have I been doing? Like it seems so corny, so cheesy, but it literally, like, I come in here, first thing I do, I write down something that is what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Like that either needs to improve or that I'm going to ride that momentum.
Yep.
Like if I'm feeling really strong that day, I might write, I am strong, I am strong, I am strong. And then I'm going to write, I'm so grateful that I have the gift of strength today because I'm right.
Yep.
And then I'll read that and be like, yeah, let's go. Right. And it's to myself.
You have to. If you only do that one time a year, there's so many, like I said, obstacles.
I mean, I don't know how you remember it.
Right. There's going to be so many obstacles that are get thrown at you. So every day when you set your intentions the right way, and I'm a big person on, you got to practice gratitude, and we try to instill that already in our kids. We should do it even more frequently than we do, but we've got a gratitude jar. I think we make the kids write in it and what you just did there was just manifesting, right? Mm-hmm. I'm strong. You got to do those things. We do those things with our kids because again, what affects everything in your life is what goes in your brain. It's that right there, man. You want to change.
You got to feed it.
You got to feed it. And when you can get to a point mentally where anything is achievable, as long as you put the work in and you're willing to make certain sacrifices, man, really sky's the limit for us.
Dude, that's that flow state. Oh. Like, can you imagine the flow state that a Jordan must have got in? Like the dude had to get into a spot where he was like, I'm invincible. Yep. And he still has that.
Very much so.
Like I was listening to, I watched Shay Shay, like Shannon Sharp, right?
Yeah.
So I was watching him interview Dana, the guy who owns
UFC,
right?
Yeah.
Dana White. I mean, the two of them going back and forth. I was like, guys, calm down. Yeah. When you ever heard me have to calm people down? I'm like, you two got to calm down, right?
They're intense.
I mean, intense. But just talking about that, literally, Michael Jordan could be rolling dice, and he feels like he's going to dominate.
Yeah,
he's gonna absolutely crush you. It could be a baking contest. I mean, that is the mindset.
Yeah.
So just imagine the conversations that he's having in his head. There is no doubt, just zero doubt ever. I can't imagine that he's ever operating with that.
And whoever's out there that's like, when you let that doubt creep into your brain,
it's dangerous.
It can be. It can consume you. Mm-hmm. And all I can tell you is you might not be the best athlete in the world. You might not be a millionaire or run a business. But if every day you wake up with a level of confidence, right, and you challenge yourself to get better,
you got a better shot at doing it.
For sure, man. The mindset is such a huge thing. And you go and you look at any of those high-profile people where you're like, I don't know if I could ever be them. But the first thing that they'll talk about how they set their intentions, mm-hmm. right? And they manifested. And they saw the vision and they said, hey, I'm going to work. And when the doubt creeps in, I'm going to push it aside. Whether it's Mike or it's Kobe, mm-hmm. or you go into the business world and you're looking at the Dana Whites, these people really manifested where they wanted to be and they focused. And guess what? Every day was hard.
Yeah.
Right? It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. But that constant reinforcement and setting your intentions right from the day, man, There's still going to be bad days, but you got to reset that intention for the next day. And hey, yesterday was yesterday. Today's today, right?
You ever heard of Melvin Golden?
No.
Okay, so you got to check him out on Instagram,
I will.
right? A ton of business expert.
Okay.
Ton of inspiration.
Melvin
Golden.
Melvin Gordon's a running back.
Yeah, different
right?
guy.
That's
He's cool too.
He's a great guy.
He's a great guy.
I'll follow him on Instagram
All right,
too.
do him too. But Melvin Golden, I think I got it right. He all types of TED Talks and big conversations, motivational speaker, economic expert, author, all these different things. And he talks about the fact that he never has fear because he believes in one principle. And that is the principle, the law of averages. And so that's about repetition.
Very much
and your business is so about repetition. But intentions are about repetition too. Because you have to, and manifesting is about repetition. Because the more you say it, the more it forces the actions that will get you to the outcome. You don't say it and the outcome happens. You say it enough that the actions become forced.
Yep.
Like you will become a liar to yourself if you don't do the actions because you keep telling yourself that you already have it.
Yep.
You already have it. You already are this.
I'm there.
So you like find yourself, you're like, oh my God, I'm really doing it. I'm doing sit-ups. 3 weeks ago I was doing no sit-ups, but I kept telling myself that I have amazing abs, and suddenly I find myself doing the sit-ups because I need what I believe to be true to actually become true so that it becomes my reality.
Man, and when you get to that point, like you said, then man, what happens to you mentally? You're like, whoa, I now can reach different levels. And then you reset your goals, and then you finally realize that you can get there.
And I'm not saying that I'm saying I'm a work in progress. I'm saying it from this posture where it sounds like I'm doing it. I do get some shit done, but I'm not saying that I've mastered it, but I'm saying that what the percentage, whether it's 10% that I've figured it out, it's grown me 100%.
Absolutely.
So it makes a difference.
Get 1% better every day. You'll get 365%
go.
better every year. And when you go into, again, I'm a big Mike guy, but I just was reading Kobe's book the other day, and he talked about, man, he'd show up and he would only pick 2 shots and do them for 3 straight hours. And it's that repetition that you talked about, that repetition. I'm going to set my intentions that these are the 2 things that I want to go. And then in a different facet, I was just the Amazon, and what's his name for Amazon?
That's holy cow. You blanked, and your blanking forced my blanking.
You're blanking.
We both blanked.
But he just.
I'm just going to insert like a voice in that says the name of the person.
Yeah.
And it'll be like one of those old karate movies where you're saying one thing and the name of the guy comes out.
That's on Netflix occasionally, right? If you get a show from Europe, right? You get the words, but the mouth's not lining
Every
up,
time I put one of those on, my wife's like, I'm going upstairs.
Yeah, we got to turn
She
this
can't take it.
Bezos.
See what I did there?
Boom.
I just talked about other stuff until it hit.
Yeah, and Bezos said the same exact thing. He's like, the worst thing that you can do is try to get 10 things done in a day.
Yeah, and dilute them.
He's like, he talked about, I set my intentions right from the day. And so these are all the things where I'm looking at these people and going, man, and I know we can do it, right? And he sets his intentions the right way. He wants to learn in the morning, and then he wants to spend time with his family. Then he does his biggest meetings in the morning. But I mean, setting that attention, and what he said is, I pick 2 things, and I know that I'm going to get those 2 things done today. I don't try to overload myself. So in going back to it, man, when you go, I just want to pick these 2 things. I want to practice on repetition. I got 1% better as a person today. Those are the things that are going to set you up to be successful. You want to have a successful year? Don't set the intention today and then focus on it again next year.
Yeah.
Set it every day.
Yep.
Set it every day, and if you do that, man,
re-hit it.
Great things happen.
It's amazing that these ultra successful people essentially tell us exactly what they do, yet we struggle to do it. I mean, it's not like they're keeping the secrets.
No.
With social media and all the interviews they do and TED Talks and all the things. I mean, how many times has Jordan been interviewed and he's like, this is what I did. And we go, oh, look at that. He's amazing. God made him different. Well, God kind of did make him different, but a lot of the things that he did are not supernatural. They're things that we all could do. The difference is he had the willingness to do it.
For sure. Everybody's got God-given talents, right? But talent won't beat hard work if hard work doesn't right?
Yeah.
That whole saying.
What is it? hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
There it is. Yeah. So I think, in that, Jordan talks about you've got to be obsessed with it, right? And so, but again, remember, you got to set your goals and your intentions.
Yeah, have a little grace.
You might not want to be the greatest basketball player to ever live, right? And I will go on record and say Michael Jordan's the greatest basketball player to ever live. Anybody wants to argue with me, I'm sorry. It is what it is,
that's
right?
the second person on the podcast that has agreed with me.
Let's go.
So
it's MJ. He set.
There's not even a
tone.
conversation.
It's really not. It's really not even a conversation. But he was obsessed with it. And yeah, if you want to reach a pinnacle level in elite status, you probably do got to be obsessed, and you got to make sacrifices. But a lot of times, the goals that we might think are unachievable are there. They're there for you, right? But like you just said, you got to have the right intentions. You got to focus on repetition. How are you going to get better? You got to know that you might fail 5 times, but the 6th time is where it's going to be. Don't be a quitter, right? And so I think when you have those types of mind frames going in, man, like I said, anything is possible. This last year was such a whirlwind. When you and I talked last time,
we sat down and ate lunch, and we're both in totally different spots.
Yeah, and at that point in time, you and I were trying to figure out, hey, cool,
what's the next step?
Yeah, what's the next step? And and then things happen. And when you set your intentions and you work hard and you do those things and you communicate and you treat people the right way and you show up every day just try to be the best version of you, good things will happen. And so, man, if you would have told me in a crystal ball, hey, the company you've been with for almost 2 decades is getting sold out, what's going to happen? I would have been like, oh man. But now I look back and tell you 2024 was one of the best years of my life.
Yeah.
And so, and I know 2025 is going to be even better.
Even better.
And so I'm excited.
It's really cool. So I still have to ask though, because the whole time that we just talked, I was thinking to myself, because Mom has been in fitness for 40 years, so influenced you to get into kind of the family business a little bit. But you went big time on the corporate USA type of model.
I did.
Mom's like, no, I'm controlling my own little thing here, and we're gonna crush it this way. But I'm curious. You're an athlete. Did we get the athletic talent from Mom or Dad? Oh man, Christmas is going to be tough this year.
You know what? That one, I got to say that there was an equal contribution.
Oh, right? God, you wimp. Come on.
So I played.
Will you run it? You're going to be governor next?
Here's what I tell you. My father was an athlete growing up. Great athlete. I mean, just and really great with the IQ of sports. And I think that's a big thing. Yeah. Totally different
So it didn't come easy to him. Like he had to work it. Right, he had to figure out the science of it.
Definitely had some athletic ability, but I can tell you one of the differences with athletes these days, when you can understand the IQ of the game and you can understand the X's and O's, man, and that's the whole thing. You can play faster and the game slows down, right? And no matter what level that you move up with, man, when you have a good understanding and an IQ of the game, it will separate you. So for him, he taught me the IQs of all sports. Didn't matter what I was in, but we studied. And man, I just have so many great memories of sitting at the dinner table, watching Sports Center and watching games for hours, and then going in the basement or going outside in the driveway or going in the backyard and repping it out with him. Now, Mom, from a physical standpoint, is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, 60 plus years old. She's in fantastic shape.
Sturdy. She's sturdy.
Dude, they asked her to be on American Gladiators.
Yeah.
I mean, and my mom is...
they asked me too, but I was supposed to go pick up all the balls.
Oh,
after
that was
they
your
shot.
gig.
That was my gig.
That was your gig.
Like the ball boy at the U.S. Open. Your mom's just like,
dude. So for her, the athletic genes and different things like that.
It's crazy.
But it really has. There's so much that I took from both of them that allowed me to excel. And like I said, just a ton of gratitude. Now, you can't see in the short, but I got a shorter stature, So the other thing too for me was,
I think they call it short kings, right?
Yeah.
Short kings unite.
Yeah. So but for me, I also, my wife, you've always had a chip on your shoulder. I think in some cases you have to, and the world, unfortunately, and
it's survival.
It really is, And
when you're a man and you are smaller in stature, height, because you're a thicker dude.
Yep.
Our primal nature is to protect, right? And to survive.
Yes, that's what we do.
And when you look at the other folks around you and you go, oh boy, they got a little more mass than me. They got a few more advantages than me. Yeah, you're going to have a chip on your shoulder.
Absolutely.
It's called survival. It's the primal nature that we have. So I love this, like he's got short man's disease or he's got the, the chip on the shoulder. Well, yeah, we're trying to survive out here, man.
Absolutely. That's what life is about, right?
Yeah.
Survive, succeed, improve, right? But yeah, I mean, she's always told me that. But hey, it is what it is. I mean, I think that's another motivator and driver for me, right? Hey, because of the way that the world is and the perceptions that get created on certain things, your job is to not embrace those. Your job is, I don't agree with that.
No, I'm gonna blow that up.
I'm gonna crush that perception.
Yeah.
You might, man, he's the shortest guy out on the field, but he's got the most heart. He hits the hardest. He's in on every play. I mean, that's what I tell people. And again, you correlate that from sports to business, right? People coming in, just, hey, you don't have to be the most talented, but if you work hard, you keep that chip on your shoulder, keep working towards.
But that's the person who comes in with a slight disability. Let's say, let's say they were born with something that has caused them to have to limp, or let's say that they've got some sort of ailment, right? And they come in and they probably feel alienated. They feel like they're not good enough, and they give up on it.
Yep.
And so, to that point, it's like you have two options there. Obviously, I feel for a person like that, but I also go, man, like, don't give up. Just
let it define you.
You're not gonna. Okay. We know you're not going to go be the point guard for the Bulls.
Yep.
But you can be 100% of what you're supposed to be.
Agreed.
What you're capable of being. So like, don't. That's the other thing I want to talk about is expectations, right?
Yeah.
Expectations are dangerous. I think that people set expectations for themselves, and that's the reason why they don't achieve. Like, they get so focused on the desired outcome that they forget the steps.
Yeah.
So they just want to skip it. It's like, yeah, of course you want the six-pack. The person who has it that looks great in the calendar, you're just seeing the picture of them on the calendar. You're not seeing the 10 hours a week that they're putting in at the gym.
One word. It's process.
Yeah.
You always got to think. It's always about the process. Focus less on the end result. Focus on the process. The process will always get you.
Okay, so you're the expert. You run divisions of companies.
Yes. Teaching
people, staff members, how to instill this vibe into customers and to help them to get the best out. What is the system to get in a process and stick to it?
Number one, be authentic, right? I mean, you got to be authentic in any business, and also be able to...
What does that mean, be authentic?
I think...
In your terms.
Your demeanor, how you show that you care about somebody, how you ask questions, how you make it more about them and less about you. And that can come from a leadership, but it could come from just, if we're talking transactionally and we're talking about a sale and a customer's coming in, what I'm teaching these guys is, hey, that person opted to come and sit in front of you. Now, the most valuable thing that we all have in our life is not money, it's time. Mm-hmm. And if they're going to give you time, give them your best effort in that time.
IT decision makers, this might sting. Frustrated with IT issues, security threats, and the stress of your technology infrastructure, your technology should blend seamlessly with your business objectives. Technology infrastructure management with limited resources can be exhausting and counterproductive. Do you have an MSP but still have problems and technical hiccups? GSD's advisement, proactive maintenance, cutting-edge cybersecurity, cloud solutions, data backup, and local 24/7 help desk can change the game. Your technology should outpace your business operations to allow for growth, and proactive strategies should prevent issues before they arise. Get back your time and your money with GSD. Drive business forward. Leave the technology to GSD. GSDnow.com. Okay, so I'm sitting in front of one of your superstars.
Yep.
Jane. She's the best salesperson you have selling these fitness packages. And I'm just like, I want that. And she's like, well, here's kind of what the commitment would be. And you're like, I don't want to do that. I just want to get to that, right? And then Jane says, no. There's an LA Fitness process.
Yes.
That Ron Moore has proven to work and has trained us. And I know it works because I've used it.
Yep.
here's that process. What's the process?
The first thing is always practice on empathy.
Okay.
Especially for our industry. The hardest thing to do for people is to walk through the door. When it comes to the fitness industry, we all will wake up and look at ourselves in the mirror, and we will put our clothes on, and immediately there's going to be a feeling that's going to come into your body and into your brain. And that's going to either be a good, like I look today, I look good, hair's done good, clothes fit good, or it's going to be, ugh, right? And that feeling over so much time can be hard. Now, we all know the end result that we want, and we all know, okay, we need to exercise, we need to get into shape, that type of thing. But then as they come in, we've got to be able to identify the hardest thing to do was to walk through that door.
Yeah.
Now our goal is to approach with a level of empathy, also be educated, right? So
you're almost like part of the process is to celebrate the fact that they showed up.
Absolutely.
Because that's the first step.
Empathy, energy, right? All of those things are really, really important for when the person is coming in, because again, when you can identify that was the hardest thing, you show that you're empathetic, you show that you're energetic, that you care. That's not just in the fitness industry. I mean, obviously I'm a consumer too. I go around and shop, and those are the things that I'm looking for, right? Yeah. Do you, in empathy.
We tend to buy how we like to be sold.
Exactly.
Or
right?
we tend to sell how we like to buy too,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I think in that, right? I mean, when people show a level of empathy, and empathy can be in a lot of different ways, right? In our industry, because it's so health focused, there's a lot of things, right? From the physical risk and what that does to people mentally, right? I mean, the world suffers from depression, anxiety. We've talked about all those things. And again, social media is great, but we also know the whole focal point.
Social media is expectations.
It really is.
And that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing the top 1%, that the algorithm is going to pipe up because they get advertising dollars by how long somebody stays on an app. That's their biggest metrics to sell ad dollars.
Yep.
So what are they going to do? They're going to pipe out the 1% of content creators that look the best, sound the best, whatever. We see that and we go, I want to be like that. I want to do that. I want to have that outlook. And what we don't realize is that's the one half of one percentage point. We think it's everybody because our algorithm is just kicked with it. It just keeps piping it at us and keeps giving it to us. And we go, well, everybody must be like this, but there's 6 billion people in the world and you're really only seeing 7 people repeatedly over and over and over again. Yep. And I'm sorry, that's not an expectation you should set.
I agree. Yeah, you're right. You started with expectations. There's a difference between expectations and intentions, right? And so, with expectations, it can lead you down to fail. I think set realistic goals, but if there was one expectation I could tell people, like I said, get 1% better today. Pick something, get better at it, that type of thing. But is
that part of the process of what you're, sorry to interrupt, but I'm so curious about this. Is that part of the process of what your staff members are going to help somebody come in? So I sign up.
Yep.
Right. I want to do the fitness training. I need a personal trainer. I need the accountability. I need the help. I need the encouragement. Yeah. Plus, I don't know. I have no idea what the hell the system is. Like, I don't know what I should be doing for what muscle. Oh. And I don't know how to get rid of the back love handles. So, like, what's the exercise to do that?
Yep.
So, is there like an analysis process that happens, and then there's a science or steps put together?
Spot on.
Okay.
So here's your process, right? And here's what I train to. The first thing I'm going to train to is the art side of the business, how you treat people, right? The things that are you in uniform? Do you have a great energy? Are good inflection in your voice? Because it's got to be exciting, right? But then from there, it goes into the processes that we talked about. There's really 4 reasons why people need a personal trainer. And really all I try to get people to understand is a personal trainer is no different than a fitness coach or a fitness educator, right? And those 4 major reasons are, number 1, accountability, because we as humans, we get very busy, but we also like to make excuses for ourselves, right?
Oh man, I'm so good at that.
We all are, dude.
I'm like world class, dude.
Oh yeah, you got the gold medal and trophy.
Man, seriously.
Biggest procrastinator, right?
Oh yeah.
So I think
start up the Star Spangled Banner, put the flag up. I got the gold on that one.
So I think with that, everybody needs accountability, right? I think the second thing is motivation, right? Because the reality of it is that if exercise was easy, everybody would be looking great, right? And, but it's unfortunate, but over 50% of America is obese, right? And so, there's a lot of health risk issues and different things that go with that. But so I really talk about How do we keep them motivated? How do we keep them accountable? The third thing for me big is education, right? A lot of people know their end destination. Hey, I know, the analogy I use, I know to get in a car and drive west, I'll end up in California. Doesn't mean I'm not going to use a map, right? So you want to lose 30 pounds, John, but in order to lose 30 pounds, there's got to be a map that's going to get you there. And you want to be efficient, you want to be safe. And so when we can get you with that coach, that education component is so crucial, right? And plus people get really inspired when they start to learn more things. They feel more comfortable. That's great. Yeah. So now they're accountable. They're motivated. They're like, I'm learning.
And they're in the game.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, I understand this play.
Yep.
Okay, so when I do that, I get that.
Yes.
It's like the 2-year-old that goes, so if I throw the spaghetti on the floor, you yell at me. Okay, so that's not good.
Yeah, that's not going to be a good one.
But I'm still going to throw it because I want to see how many times you yell. Like, is it just a one-time thing, or I'm going to keep doing it until I feel really, oh, that's absolutely shouldn't do that. I'm going to get yelled
at every time, so
I stopped doing that.
Yeah, that's
so
great.
It's like
that's great. And the last thing I would say is then we practice on the safety. So when I'm training our processes coming in, it would be show that you care about the customer, right? Ask a lot of questions, really make sure we highlight and understand what drove them through the door, right? So the things that, are important for us to understand is, hey, there's a reason why you chose to come to a gym today. There's a reason why you didn't choose to come in the last 6 months. What was that? What held you back? What are your fears, right? And then from there, can we map out something that's realistic? It's going to be challenging.
Right? How long or how hard is it to get the customer's why? Like, do people come in and they're just like, all right, here's the deal. Or does it take a while to build that trust?
It's honestly in that, I can't say it's one over the other. It definitely depends on the person.
Yeah.
There's some people that come in and they're just like, hey, I know I need help. This is where I'm at. But I also think that is, the old statistics back in sales is people know if they're going to buy from somebody within that first 1 to 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's, again, I think that's where I started talking about being authentic. You'll know, right? I know when I go in, and I know when somebody's pitching me a sale, and I know when somebody's like, hey, because people buy from people that they like and trust. And this world is transactional, right? Don't try to get away from it.
Yeah.
It's transactional, right? And so, but we all buy things, we all sell things, that type of thing. But I think that when you can make the transaction more about the relationship,
the experience,
than the experience, right?
Yeah.
And so, what I've really brought is my mantra, and where I would start with the customer, and I teach a great lead-in statement is that at LA Fitness, we want to deliver you the greatest experience. We're going to do it in 3 ways. First way, clean gym, right? Nobody wants to walk in and have a dirty gym. Second thing, great operating equipment. And the third thing is maximal results. And that should lead us down a pathway, John, to talk about the things that you've wanted to accomplish and how long have you thinking about accomplishing those things. And once we're able to figure that out and we work to, okay, now we got a goal, right? We got a goal and we've got a very specific goal. You didn't just come in and go, I just want to get back in shape. That's too vague. You're setting yourself up for failure. Be specific.
You're setting yourself up for failure.
Yep. Be specific.
I can't tell you how many times I've done that.
Yep.
Where you go into the gym, you go like, well, I'm just going to go into the gym. No plan, no idea what I'm working that day. I've like jumped from abs to legs to shoulders in one workout.
Yep.
Like, how long should I have been there? Don't know what the rep count is. And then, you go home and you're like proud of yourself, but then you wake up the next day and you're sore, and then you kind of get the anxiety because you're like, I don't really know what I was doing there. Yeah. So then you feel embarrassed because you see the 3 people like that are preparing for like some sort of cross trainings thing or whatever, and you're like, I'm not
prepared
that
for their workout.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so it sounds like that 3-statement, that 3-pillar statement you have is a great foundation to kind of just set the tone right off of that.
Absolutely.
And then from there, it's really like, what is the personality type of the customer? Are they analytical and it's about process?
Yeah.
Are they emotional and spiritual and maybe it's more about the why?
Yes.
Is there some deeper thing beyond that? And I would imagine your people, when they can get to that, whether it's in a week or 6 weeks, it's almost like when you can get to all 4 of those pieces, the person now is going to become addicted to being in shape and the whole experience.
And then in all businesses, when you can reach that level of a service, then what does that turn into? It turns
referrals.
There it is. And that's the growth that you want in any business, right? And so, I think, again, we've talked a lot of different facets about intentions. So when I'm training all of our people, set your intentions right from the get-go that you do genuinely care. Here's your strong lead-in statement. So that means if you're going to tell them a clean gym, if you haven't walked the gym to make sure it's clean, or I don't care if it's a retail store, if you haven't walked and your stuff's
It's almost like forced accountability.
Right. I mean, if that's your lead-in statement, you better practice on that, right? And so the equipment better be working, the club better be clean. And then again, it's going to lead us down a pathway to talk about, again, results. And that is why there's not one person that I've sat with in 20 years that said, you know what, I really just came here to join. So you give me a key tag so I can say I'm a member. Come on. There's things that you want to accomplish. And so when they can see that you're educated, that you care, but I'll tell you right now, people would rather buy from people that they like and trust and treat them the right way and talk to them the right way and show that you genuinely care. Now, if you're super educated and you can do both of those things, well, then I think it's a home run.
I think the hardest thing for you, correct me if I'm wrong, is getting them to the gym. Because once they're in, it's like you feel the energy, kind of excited. Somebody's helping you. Yep. You're like, oh my God, the whole potential, the world is at my fingertips. Like everything's gonna be great. I'm gonna look like that dude. Yep. But it's when they're not there. Keeping them in the game. So what's your methodology? What's like the LA Fitness way of doing that? What's the Ron Moore way of doing that? Of keeping somebody engaged when they're at home and they're like, I don't feel like doing it today.
Well, I think the first thing is, again, got to be honest, right? Hey, whatever we set as a goal, and I think when we extract that specific goal, then we've got to break it up into short-term goals, because if we're working towards an end result, but we're setting short goals and you're positively reaching those goals, it's going to keep you motivated. And that's going to be a big part of it, right? But really getting them to understand it's going to be a process and it's not going to be easy, especially when it comes to getting healthy, right? I mean, I'm telling you right now, losing 40 pounds is not easy.
No.
Putting on 10 pounds of muscle, it's not easy, right? But letting them know that they have that support system, let's set short-term goals. If our long-term goal is to lose 30 pounds, what are we going to lose in the first month? Let's check that box. Did you feel better? Did you move better? Great, right? And I think the other thing too is really letting them understand and know that anything in life that you want to do, it's got to become habitual. And if you have to know that you're going to have to commit for a period of time. If you thought it was going to be 30 days and now it's a habit, it's a routine, it's part of my life, it's not going to happen, right? So there's those timeline periods that you've at least got to be able to commit to. And, at least in this, and really I feel like in everything, it's 90 days, right? When I feel like that 90-day marker for me is like, man, if you're doing it consecutively, and that doesn't mean you're working out every day of the week. I'll go on record right now and tell you I've been doing this for a long time. I don't work out 7 days a week. I work out 3 to 4 days a week. I stay active in my lifestyle outside of that, but my workout regimens are 3 to 4 days a week, right?
We had a gold medalist snowboarder in here who said he trained 1 hour 5 days a week. He said, you would think that's crazy, like I'm not putting enough effort in, but my lifestyle is that I'm always moving.
Yeah.
He said, motion is lotion.
Oh, I love it.
Isn't that a great line?
Yeah, that is.
So he's like, so if I got to go to the grocery store, I ride my bike there instead of driving the car, right?
Absolutely.
So that kind of just becoming infected with that lifestyle. Is what he was talking about.
That took it to my brain where I've sat with so many people and told them, hey, something's better than nothing, right? So getting in here, doing something is better than nothing. Let's talk about your activity level, different things that you can do at home, things that, you don't want to set the expectation, right? That, all right, hey, in 6 months, I'm going to look like a supermodel, because you're probably setting yourself up for failure. So that goes back to that communication that we talked about and being authentic, being true. And then, luckily for us, we work with a lot, with being in the health club industry, we work with a lot of physicians and doctors. We have a computer-based program that's called Visual Fitness Planner that really, man, John, if you walked in today, we're giving you an image, to understand where your starting point is, what's that going to look like, what are those true specific goals, what are our concerned health risk issues right now. By doing and achieving your goals, where are you going to see those improvements in health? Because realistically, there's two major drivers of why people want to be healthy, why people want to work out. They want to be healthy and they want to look good. right? And that's it's true, and it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to be open and honest.
Fear and greed.
Hey, people want to be attractive, right? And work out and feel good. And like I said, when you put those clothes on in the morning, that's gonna be one of those first triggers where you're like, oh God, okay, this is a time I got to get back to the gym, or I got to get back down into the basement and get on that treadmill that's got dust on it or whatever. And I've always told people, like, hey, I hope that wherever I am, you choose to come and be a part of that. But like I said, I mean, just growing up in this industry, I would also be the first person to tell you, man, if you're doing something, I'm happy for you, right? If you're doing some form of activity level, you feel like you're progressing, you're getting better, that's great. If you want to progress quicker, then seek out for somebody that's gone through those things and is a little bit more knowledgeable. And we all need that support system. We all need that coach. It just allows you to be so much more successful, because there's going to be a lot of hard days where your brain is going to want to talk you out of it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's anything in life, but especially when it comes to exercise. Right. But when you have that support system to hold you accountable, keep you motivated, that type of thing, you'll get there.
So law of attraction, this is the way that you believe, think, and have acted for years.
Forever.
Which attracts somebody who thinks very similar to you, maybe even more so in your wife, Sam.
Yes.
Who's all about entrepreneurial spirit. She's all about fitness. She's all about coaching and training and teaching. She's all about selling houses, selling properties, marketing. I mean, she's all over inventing stuff.
Oh, man.
I mean, she's been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. And the cool thing is the combination of the two of you has kind of built a formula of what creating a really good human and a really good citizen and a really good self-sufficient person should look like. So you together have started a business called Fly Dog.
Yeah.
Right? Fly Dog. So another thing I just want to hit that is pretty cool. It's cool when you work for a big business, but you have a side gig.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That jives, because for a long time that wasn't. So good on the brands that you've worked with. That's cool.
1,000,000%.
And good on the fact that you're using the business more to create lessons, and to drive a mentality and a philosophy and a belief system than you are to get rich. If that happens, sweet.
Yeah.
But you're more doing this because you're trying to show by doing your children that, like, this is how young you can start.
Yes.
So tell us about Fly Dog.
Fly Dog is fantastic, and so Fly Dog is a clothing wear that we started a couple of years ago, and it got started by our son, Rocco, and he took.
And by the way, just so people who don't know, when he says a couple years ago for Rocco, that was at age 9.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So at age 9, he takes a picture of our dog, and he's like, "Hey, this is a really cool picture." And he started to get into drawing, and he drew a sketch and an outline of what the dog looked like. And I'm like, "Dude, that's cool." And that's where Sam's light bulb went off, because Samantha is an entrepreneur.
Yeah, she never stops.
What you just said about the law of attraction, I couldn't be more blessed. There's not a more perfect person in this world than my wife for me, because she challenges me every day to get better, which is great. And there's so many things that she brings to our marriage and to what we're instilling in our kids that, maybe I didn't have in my upbringing. As I told you, I super grateful for all those things. But man, it really has been. You know
what's cool is if she was sitting there, she'd say the same about you. That's what I'm saying. It's like if you guys follow them on their social media, like they're traveling all over the place, but they got like this partnership going that's like it's got a vibe to it. It's almost like it should be a television show, because you guys are always at some ball or a gala. You're dressed up, but then sometimes you're working out, and you hire like professional photographers to take cool pictures of you guys, and like you do all this stuff to keep it spicy, to keep it fun, but you're kind of leading from the front of like, this is what a healthy relationship looks like. This is how you keep it energetic and fun. And this is part of being really strong spiritually is being in control of your dominion. And And that is actually a covenant.
Well said.
I don't know how spiritual you are as it relates to Christianity or whatever, but regardless, that's part of the covenant.
Agree.
is to have that control, and that control is teaching all the right ways to live and the right ways to think and to do things. So the cool thing is the law of attraction hits. You guys like vibe off of each other, right? And you're doing all these fun things, but then you're creating this business, and then you look down and you go, it's no wonder that Rocco did that, because that's what he's seeing.
Yeah,
he's seeing it every day. It's not like he didn't wake up and was like, I'm an entrepreneur.
No.
Like 9-year-olds don't do that. They're a product of what they see.
Yeah,
and so what a testament to what you guys are doing. So he draws out this logo.
Yep.
The light bulb goes off for Sam because does she sleep or just fall over?
Yeah, she sleeps with her eyes open.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah,
Probably talking and typing and like
3 o'clock in the morning. I was up last night. I look over. She's on the laptop.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Then she went to sleep, and when she woke up at 5, I was on the laptop going. So I mean, we do.
You're vibing, right?
Yeah, we do vibe, man, and it's great. I'm married to my best friend.
It's cool.
But what she established, and that light bulb clicked. It's been great, and I think it's always important that what we want to do instill in our kids is, yes, to your point, the money, the success is great, but what was your mission behind doing something like this? So when we asked, it was so great. I was just so blessed that my 9-year-old was like, hey, I would like to, whatever this comes to, help animals. And so we donate 20 to 30% of our proceeds back to animal shelters. And typically the animal shelter that we got our dog from, who is a family member for us. Anybody that's a pet, a pet parent, could tell you that I love my dog. I mean, he's great. He's like another son for me. But so we donate the proceeds back there. So I felt like for Rocco, it was a great opportunity from an entrepreneur. I think it was a great opportunity to give him ownership and teach him like, hey, these are the things that you need to do and responsibilities and things of that nature. And then from there, I thought it was so great that he wanted
creative.
He wanted to donate. So all of the proceeds, and we started with kids clothing, and now it's branded, and we're getting into some dog clothings, and we just purchased it as an LLC, and man,
it's like a real thing, man. It's going,
and he's working with inside it, and
by the way, he's going to school, right? And he's like walking down the hallway, and like one of the kids walks by and is like, hey, Rocco, what's up? And is wearing
Fly Dog
apparel.
He comes home and tells us, like,
oh my God, he didn't come home. He flew home.
Yeah, he's like, Dad, oh man, this cool kid.
Yeah.
Because we also sent some to the high school kids and stuff like that. And we got another friend that's a high-profiled athlete up at Carmel, and he wears it. And every time he does, he posts on social media, and he tags.
Well, give me some Fly Dog stuff for the podcast, dude, man. I'll rip some Fly Dog stuff on here.
I'm in, dude.
Let's go.
Your order's already being made right now.
Let's go.
So I got the new sweatshirt, I got a shirt, and I got a hat.
Oh, I'll Fly Dog all week,
dude, for sure. So, but yeah, it's been a really good, and we're just getting off the ground right now. But like I said, it's not really even about that. I mean, we have goals and aspirations where her and I have sat down and looked at what we think it can go to, and we'll work those things. But really the biggest takeaway for me and really reflected on it, and I was watching a TV show the other day, I think I was telling you about this, but there was Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys. He's on a show and he's giving a speech, and it was in a movie, so it wasn't
talking Landman. Yeah,
Landman. And so he's given a speech to a gentleman that owned an oil company, John Hamm, and he had a heart attack. And he's like, hey, I want to tell you something. I've known you for 20 years, and you've always been business. But he's like, I look in this room, and the only person that's in here is me and your business partner. He's like, when I bought the Dallas Cowboys, I did it with the intentions of I wanted to employ all my family, and the first people that were most important to me were my kids. Not because I wanted them just to be successful, but it was maybe it was more selfish, but I wanted that time with them. I wanted those successes and sometimes failures to be as a family together, but that time is so valuable. And so that opportunity and just how important family is to us, and working and being, side by side with him. And we, with my full-time career and her full-time career in real estate, we get to it. It's definitely a side thing, but those opportunities that we get, and we have all of our kids modeling, and we have our kids, hey, you're going to put the shirts in the bag, and we're going to go drive them. We're going to do these things. You're instilling that work ethic.
Well, you're teaching them business stuff that they're going to go to their first business class and be like, yeah, it's an A.
Yeah, I got it.
No problem. That's an A.
You need me to jump up and lead the
you
class,
want me to,
right?
You want me to talk?
Yeah, so.
I got this. What are we talking, P&Ls?
Yeah.
Okay, I got this, teach.
Yep, exactly. So, it's been really, really cool, and I think it's just getting off the ground. I'm super excited. Like I said, we're branching into, we're going to do a little bit more dog clothing and stuff like that. So,
what's the website?
Rockwear or flydog at rockwear.com. Okay.
Flydog.
Flydog. FLYDAWG at rockwear.com.
Rockwear.com. And is it ROC or?
ROC.
Just ROC. Perfect. All right. So we're going to throw that in the description of the podcast so you can check that out.
I would, go on there. Like I said, hey, don't feel obligated, but we'd love to have you purchase a shirt, rep it around, send a picture, post it on social media, tag us. Those things are great.
And it's cool design, but moreover, if you're a pet lover.
Yeah, that's
like
what I was
if you're a pet lover, I mean, you're helping out animals, and who doesn't love that? So and you're helping out a now 11-year-old.
Yep.
Yeah, now 11-year-old. To walk down the hallway with a little more swag. And when I say swag, I don't mean the apparel, I mean the attitude, baby.
And he's a swagged out kid for sure. And I love it. He's again, super blessed. All 4 of our kids are fantastic, and they're all doing great, and they're kind of their own facets. But he definitely, from a business aspect, I'm so proud of him. So proud of him.
So the team at LA Fitness, how is it unique, different, shocking, surprising, wonderfully delightful? Because it had to be nerve-wracking initially, but now, obviously we talk before we start recording and so on, and like you're beaming. We're both going through these really good situations, but it's like, oh, this worked out. Like, I can't believe this worked out as well as it did. So that's not just coming from the fact that you have employment. You were heavily recruited to go do other things. You could have started your own business. You could have gone to other states. You had offers and so on.
Yeah.
And luckily, it worked out here with LA Fitness to be able to stay in this community and do your thing. So that's really awesome. But like, what's been shockingly amazing and delightful?
Coming from Xsport and been there for 20 years, privately owned company, it was always family owned and operated, and talking to everybody on a daily basis, and coming to a company that I realize is a $3.5 billion company, 750 locations. I'm thinking, man, it's going to be very corporate, right? There's going to be a lot of people. And honestly, the family vibe that kept me for so long, because you typically don't find that anymore. People aren't spending, 15, 20, 25 years with organizations, and so.
No, it's 5 years, go get a pay raise, then leave that in a year to get another pay raise. And, it's crazy.
And I stayed loyal. And one of the biggest reasons I stayed loyal is because of that family vibe. And that has been the most eye-opening thing coming over here, just how much, even though it's that big and it's that big of a machine, that I still feel the family vibe. I really do. Mm-hmm. In talking with.
How do they do that as a brand? What's their key to that?
Man, just like from the basics of when you go on to like our employee portal, they're announcing people every day.
So there's daily rewards and recognition.
Daily recognition to.
Damn.
And they're recognizing whatever compliments.
You got an HR monster on your
whatever
hands.
Recognition is coming in for employees that are coming from customers, we're posting. Whatever recognition's coming from doing great with their KPIs and their sales, we're definitely acknowledging as well. I mean, those types of things.
So like social presence is like 10x where you had seen it before.
Huge.
Yeah.
I mean, they just rolled out a huge marketing campaign, TV commercials, social media, everything online, where just the sophistication of the company, but still feeling that family vibe is really, really, it's a really cool thing. And I mean, what's crazy is a lot of these people, I've met a lot of the people in person. There's probably 30, 40, players in the game that I haven't met, but talking to them, being on FaceTime, they still feel like family. I can call them anytime. And that's been such a blessing for me.
So it's like loose but controlled.
Yes.
Very systematic but loose culture.
Yeah. And culture is really important to them. And, not to say that it wasn't important at previous brands,
Sure.
but I think seeing how they invest into culture, we're given different funds to be able to go out and focus just on culture. And that was something that, I had brainstormed, because for me, I'm also up in the middle of the night, ideas. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? How are we going to get better? That type of thing. And one thing that I always wanted to do was, how can I always improve the culture? Because I'm just a big believer that when you walk in and you have a good culture and you have synergy, not every day is going to be great, but when you have that, right, people are going to find ways to be successful when they're working together. And so in seeing them having additional investments into the culture of just, hey, we want you to take your staff out. We want to take them out, not to reward them for success, but to do more team building. Take people out for lunch, go out, have some dinners, that type of thing.
And to allocate the funds to do
they
that.
allocate the funds.
Like to go, this is, go use this for this.
For culture.
Not, I'm going to take them out and then send you an expense report.
Exactly. And so when they do that, and it's don't take them out just because they were the best performers, but take them out truly with. And so for me, in talking to you about how important culture and leadership and communication and understanding people's whys and things, man, when I came aboard and was thinking, man, corporate America, 750 clubs, Fortune 500 company, I'm like, man, these things might be a little bit different, which is why, you talked about the other opportunities that, were presented to me. They were attractive because they were some very successful bands.
Consistency with what you had known.
Yeah, but hey, sometimes you just gotta
take the jump, baby.
Yeah, take the jump, and then what you do, you get shit done.
Yeah,
and they're a get shit done company. I think what they love about me is again our morals and our beliefs align of how we want to build culture, and we still want to get shit done and be a great productive company and. Profitable company. Those things are always important. But yeah, it's that has been one of the biggest eye-opening things where I was like, ooh, I heard, because again, at the end of the day, LA Fitness and Xsport were once competitors. That's why I talked about at the beginning of the podcast. It was like that Remember the Titans thing. But when you come together and you understand, man, two brains are better than one.
Yeah.
And when we can go do this together, we can create something that's just completely different. And that's really been, not only from just the collaboration, but with the things that we're doing here in the state of Illinois, to now hear that they're starting to do some of the things in other marketplaces because of what we created. My partner in crime, we talk about it every day. Hey, we're not here to change the state. We're here to change the company. So it's super exciting for me. I've got some, as I know you do too, ridiculous goals and ambitions and things like that. So it's been really great. So to answer your question, that was the most eye-opening thing, is to just realize that the important things of family owned and operated, how to talk to people, how to treat people, how to allocate funds to certain things. That's been the most eye-opening thing. And honestly, what really said, okay, hey, this is now where I see myself for the next 15 to 20 before I sail off into the sunset.
There you go.
I go on that permanent vacation.
Where is that sunset?
That sunset, for me and wherever my kids are.
Yeah.
Wherever my kids are. Being a parent in this day and age is tough.
It's hard as hell, man.
It's so hard. It really is hard. And a lot of it has to do with, the evolution of the world and what things are important to our kids and what distractions our kids have and being able to navigate those things.
Even what they think is cool.
Yeah, it's different. What they say. But then I think about it and you got to take a step back and you got to think about what we thought was cool.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Maybe our parents said some of those similar things about us, but that's all in the world. But yeah, I mean, where is that? Wherever my kids are, because I think Samantha and I, we're always going to find those times, and we do. We prioritize our marriage. We prioritize time, and I could tell anybody that's a married couple, do that, right? Prioritize your time. The best thing that, and again, I'm always listening and reading things. I listened to a thing the other day, and they said the most important person that you should prioritize should be your spouse, because what you would want to instill in your kids is great marriage, right? And trust and communication. And when they see a great marriage and they see that it's developed with not always sunshine and rainbows, but you work through things and you communicate and, and there's love, you put your marriage.
They take that to the world.
They do. And then they'll take that to theirs. And I think if you ask.
So the nuclear family.
Yeah. If you ask, what do you want for your kids? You want them to be successful. But the most important thing, you want them to be in a successful marriage, right? And you want them to be treated the right way. And so are your intentions and are how you're displaying your marriage, setting that example for them. And that is one thing that it's always going to be a work in progress. It's always going to be a work in progress, you know. But I think that if you can set your intentions, and I think that's been the biggest thing here on this podcast, set your intentions the right way. If you can do that and set your intentions to go, I want my son to see how to treat his wife. And I want my daughter to see how to treat her husband. And I want them, not just the business aspects, but those things, man, those will go a long way for you. You know, so wherever my kids go, I want to be there. I want them to want to be around me and her. And I think they do, because we always have fun together.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're a work hard, play hard family. That's our motto.
No, you're a unit, man.
You know, but it's life is good, man.
It's good.
Life is so good.
Well, you are definitely getting shit done. You know, it's interesting. I had a married couple say, yeah, married 30 years. And then the wife chimes in and goes, yeah, 15 of them good. Oof. And I giggled like they were joking.
Right.
But there's some truth to that.
Very much so.
There is some truth to that. And that just goes like 50% of the year is good, but they're still there for 30 because you don't give up. You work through it. And, you know, that's the same thing with, you know, a goal that you have.
Absolutely.
That's the same thing with like getting on a fitness plan. It's the same thing with running a podcast. Like, not every freaking episode that goes out is going to be received the way that I would like it to. Do I give up and not do the next one? Like, no, it's like, that's just what the result was for that one. What do I learn from it? How do I make it better? Same thing with when you're talking to a person coming into the gym. It's like, here, okay, great. Here's your expectation. Monday's going to kick ass, but I got to tell you, Wednesday's going to suck. The key is, can you come back Friday?
Yes.
So, like, which one do you want to remember? Do you remember the Monday or do you remember the Wednesday? Wednesday's closer to Friday, so you're going to be tempted to remember Wednesday, but I will challenge you to remember Monday.
Absolutely.
And that's the same thing you got to do with marriage. It's like, okay, cool. The last year maybe sucked pretty bad, but what about the two before that were just absolutely killer? Yeah. Do you want to ride on those?
And what did we do in those 2 years, and where did it fall off? I mean, that's where, you know, I've always gone back to communication is always it's always the key.
And it's hard, by the way. It's not easy.
Here, as much as we've sat here and talked about, you know, marriage is hard.
Well, she's not an easy person. Let's face it. Like, she's a dominant personality. That can't always be
strong.
Sunshine. Like, she is strong. She's a real one, right? Like, I would imagine like there's some intense like.
There's a lot of intensity.
Why did you do that?
Yeah.
Meaning she's saying that to you, most likely.
Well, I come home and she's like, "Hey, remember, I know you're big boss man, or whatever, but now you're at home.
Make
right?
the mac and cheese, man.
So you get that laundry, you know, that type of thing. But you know, going back to that, I've heard a lot of people say that. You know, the unfortunate thing is in this world, people are much easier to give up, you know, and give up on themselves, give up on their career, give up on their goals, give up on their marriage. You know, I would challenge anybody, work through those things, right? And you gotta have somebody that you want to work through those things with. But I think that's super important, that it's never going to be perfect, but how you guys communicate, how you work through things, man, that's what I want to show our kids too. Just going back to those lifelong lessons. Don't give up, right? You got to continue to push through and work through. So yeah, as much as we are the best of friends, trust me, you and I had best friends when we were growing up. Guess what? We fought those guys a couple of times.
Absolutely.
Right? And guess what? You came back, and you came back stronger.
Yeah, so much great in the world started with conflict. And it's how you handle that conflict that determines whether or not that thing remains coal or turns into a diamond, right? Yeah. That pressure that happens, that conflict that happens, and good things really can come out of that if you have the right attitude towards it. And I think that whether you're in sales and you're like, you've made 100 phone calls and nothing's happened for you, you want to go home, but you can convince yourself to make 10 more. And on the 8th one of that 10 more, the sale comes in, and you wouldn't have gotten that if you would have gone home, and it wouldn't have happened the next morning because that person was going away for a week. But you forced yourself to make those extra 10 phone calls, or forcing yourself when you get in an argument to then immediately follow up with, let's go out to dinner and have a date night, right?
Absolutely.
Or, you know, you're so sore and don't want to do it, but you still go to the gym and you just walk on the treadmill because you can't lift your arms, but you still got your shoes on and you went to the gym and you still you bit off a piece of the increments that you needed in that repetition in order to get to the end result. Maybe the end result's going to take a little bit longer now, but you're still going to get to it. Like those are all the things that I'm always working through.
John, what you just said is one of the most key things to any success, man. It's the days that it's going to be hard, and probably more days than not, it's going to be hard. Marriage, work, goals, whatever it might be. But find yourself just going, all right, I got to do it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and again, just going back to the most successful people in the world, there was a lot of days that was hard, but you make that commitment to just go do it, and then you work through it. And even if you didn't get as much out of it that you did the day before, because to your point, you're too sore or whatever, just getting there and making that commitment, because when you give yourself the excuse not to do anything, you're setting yourself up for failure, because now you're opening it up to give yourself more excuses to not get it done. So, man, that's where I keep going back to humans. It's right there. Mm-hmm. It's right there for us, right? But set those intentions, be positive, understand it's going to be a roller coaster ride. Life's a roller coaster, man. I've had some great moments in my life. I've had some terrible moments in my life, but I sit here today and I move forward every day, and we're blessed, right? We only get one of these, right? So Enjoy the roller coaster ride. And that's, what I try to instill in my family, in my relationship with my wife, with my kids. I think it bleeds right over into work. And I think when I've allowed myself to get the people that work with me to understand my family dynamic and why that's so important, that's where it starts to help them too. And so it's been, it's been such a great opportunity to lead people, and man, I'm just excited about the next 15 to 20 years to keep doing it.
Badass. Ladies and gentlemen, you have met Ron Moore. Ron, I want to remind you, sir, you got shit done.
Let's keep getting shit done.
Let's keep getting shit done.
I appreciate being on. Cheers, brother.
Can your business handle 15% growth? If yes, you have to engage with 2020 Design. They fuse data and creativity to stop the scroll, break through the noise, and grab the attention of your future customers. 2020 Design will create competitive, click-worthy campaigns, design and build custom websites, spark your social media presence, and structure email campaigns that get right to your audience, the decision maker. Let's boost attention and awareness, which allows you to convert more sales. Check them out at 2020design.com. That's the number 20, TWENTY design.com.